everybody. Jason, Andreas, Diana, Rex, Gaten, welcome to the show. Do-do-do, do-do-do. And we're starting a minute early, but it's no big deal. So, welcome everybody. So, how's it going? How's it going? And if you want to chat with me, all you gotta do, click the button right here, right down here, click the button and be a subscriber on the channel. And you can chat, say, hey, good afternoon, what's up? And make requests as always. Now, if we get along in here and attendance is poor, we will keep it short today. I did a request show earlier. If you missed it, sorry. It maybe posted to YouTube later. I don't know. Link was in the Discord several times in the announcements channel. And I threw it on the morning video in the chat. So if you missed out, sorry. But you're here now. So pitter patter, let's get at her. It is 5 o'clock. Welcome everybody. We're going to cover the CPI, retail sales, 30 minutes, your request. Now, tomorrow morning is the CPI. And between where the S&P 500 stopped and I got an uneasy feeling about this. Right here tomorrow morning. Right there. If we get any kind of spicy CPI, we could drop like crazy. Just not sure what's about to happen. This eerily like the FOMC meeting just a couple weeks ago. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. And we have retail sales coming out on Friday. So we are sitting at the danger zone right in front of these two major news announcements right here. CPI tomorrow morning, 8:30 in the morning, Eastern time, and retail sales right here, 8:30 Thursday morning. These two things back to back can be market moving. And then on Friday, we've got housing starts and building permits, which may also cause some I don't know, temper tantrums in the market, you might say. And then right here, we also have consumer sentiment and inflation expectations right there. We've got a stacked week going into the end of the week here with all sorts of information, economic news wise. And then next week, kicking it off. Oh, maybe next month. No, I just need next week, not next month. Next week, we start out a little benign, like we do most Mondays. Nothing, so to speak. Tuesday, nothing, so to speak. Wednesday, again, nothing, kind of. We do get some FOMC minutes. Last time that had a little, we kind of reacted slightly to the minutes. I don't know why. They're just going to clarify what Jerome Powell and the other Fed members who have spoken after him already said. Then Thursday, we get, the unemployment claims. So next week, kind of back to being benign economic news wise. We get some new home sales right at the end of the week, but not a whole lot happening. We do get the minutes coming out during the market open on Thursday, Wednesday, excuse me, during the market open on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. But otherwise, nothing burger for next week, economic news wise. So we'll be back to what's cooking, what's shaking, what's baking. And this week, we've got the CPI, though, tomorrow morning. If you didn't prepare for that before the market closed, well, I don't know. I'm very concerned because of where we stopped right here. This is eerily similar to when we stopped right over here pre-FOMC. And we got the FOMC pop. Right post-FOMC, we stopped there, and then then the rug pull right out of there. And 3 days later, we're down at the roadmap line. So it's concerning. I'm not sugarcoating this at all. Like, I am concerned right here. What if we rug pull this right down here? Not gonna be not awesome. That's for sure. That's not gonna be awesome if we do this. Not going to be awesome. All right. So watch out for this. It definitely can happen. Definitely can happen right here. Hopefully everybody has got me. Everybody on the same page here. If we start down and we start breaking below like this week's low, that's a big warning sign right there. We may find a little intermediate support. But if we do that, it could be a wise thing to be in like a 5,000 and like 5,000 long put, 4,700 short put, or 500 long put on SPY or XSP, and 470 short put on SPY or XSP. Could be wise to be in that if we're going to get the bigger down. All right. It's like whatever the cost is with a 30-point upside for those, or in the case of SPX, it'd be like a 300-point upside right there. Could it happen? Absolutely, it could happen. Absolutely, it could happen. And that would be like a crash scenario. We are right here at the danger zone I've been talking about since last week. I'm nervous. Like, I don't, usually I am pretty confident about where we're heading next. Going into CPI and retail sales in the next 2 days, I am not sure. We could push this up to the top and then rug pull it. Really not feeling very confident at the moment on what's about to happen. And right there, I mean, there's probably some other people that say, like, for sure they know what's going to happen. I don't. I'm CPI comes in super light. They comes in like even negative. We may rip this thing higher. If it comes in spicy, we may rip this thing lower. That's kind of the long and the short of it. We could be ripping right up in here and be on a path to get higher, 5,700, 5,800, 6,000. Or we could be on a path to drop down here to like 4,600. That's like 1,000-point spread. 1,000-point spread. Maybe even bigger. I mean, you could say it's a 1,400-point spread. Those are not the kind of numbers we usually talk about on the S&P 500. But that's the long and the short of what potentially could come. There's no high probability at this juncture. So please, for the love of everything, be careful. If you didn't prepare today, be ready. Be ready tomorrow. That's just have a, it's not like you need to be hovering over the button. You just need to have a plan. Like, what's gonna like if it breaks below here, what am I doing? If it breaks above here, what am I doing? Have your plan already decided out tonight before we get to CPI, so you're not panicking in the morning. All right, everybody cool? There was a lot of panic right over here. A lot of people are freaking the F out right here. Didn't expect that to happen, despite me saying over and over and over and over that we needed to retrace to the roadmap line right here on the daily chart. Now, we have a setup in place to retrace to that weekly chart, and that's what scares me, is because that weekly chart roadmap line, we haven't been down there since back here in March of last year. That's like a year ago. That's 12 months. Then April, May, June, July, August. That's like a year and a half ago almost. We haven't been down to the weekly. Now you look at it. We were there here in 22, and it was 20. It was like almost 2 years. So we go visit it every 18 months to 2 years. I mean, look right there. Down there in COVID. Right there before, 2018. About a year and a little more. 2019, yeah, almost a year and a half. Be careful. Sometimes we push it long. Sometimes it's not so long. Sometimes we push it long. Sometimes not so long. Just very, very cautious. We missed right there. This thing can rip everybody pretty dang hard. And if we break below that, we could go all the way back to the bottom. There's not a lot of support in here. If we go crushing this, we can crush this a long way. There's not going to be a lot of buyers step in till we get way on down there. It can be very painful. All right. Look at the S5 TW. Stock's about their 20-day. We're just kind of hanging right in the middle. Indecision. Didn't push to the bottom. Tap the top twice. Double tap. Missed the bottom. That's not good. If we were down lower, I'd feel good about a pop. But right now we're in the middle. Do not feel good about going either way necessarily. S5 FI. Stock's about the 50-day. Sitting right in the middle. Sitting right in the middle. Sitting right in the middle. S5 TH. Sitting on the upper end. Right. Like we keep trying to poke below this, almost like a neckline of this shoulder, or head. I don't know what you call it. It's not really a head and shoulders anymore with all the bumps and humps. Keep trying to break below. Keep trying to break below. Keep trying to break below. This was the biggest diversion down so far. This is not a healthy market. If we break down, we may flush it all the way to the bottom. Stock's about their 200-day, so this is going to be very painful right here when we flush this down. Took us a while to get down there. Back here in 2022. Then we rallied up, and then we came down for another double bottom right there in October. So we're down there in the summer. We rallied up a little bit, looking okay, and no, we went back down. Haven't been back down there even in the vicinity since October of 23. We got close, but here we are. Here we are, sitting near the top. We've kind of didn't poke out the top till right here in March. Been hanging, lower highs. This is concerning. All right, it's a warning sign. This is a giant market oscillator. We tend to go from the top to the bottom, to the bottom to the top, to the top to the bottom, bottom to the top, over and over. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it goes fast. Eventually we make the bottom, and then we go make the top, and then we make the bottom, and then we make the top, and then we make the bottom and the top. Sometimes it gets a little extreme on both sides. Right now, we've been to the top. What do you expect next? Sometime coming to the bottom. If you're not prepared for this, one of these days we're going to go back to the bottom. All right. Yes. Dun, 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 dun. This may be the scarier one right here. S&P not nearly as clean as this one right here. This one, when you look at the where we could go down to, it lines up perfectly. From the 618 retrace right down here. First move down, next move down, 1618 drop. It lines up perfectly with that the weekly roadmap line right there. The daily first move down to the roadmap line, and the second one with the 1618 extension line up perfectly. That's what scares me even worse than just the S&P 500 chart. So everything's going to go down. It's going to probably pull everything down. I doubt that anything is any kind of safe haven if we do this right here. Just throwing it out there. Oh, excuse me. That one almost got out. The only slightly not like horrible sign so far is that Nasdaq did not rally up to that 618 level. So maybe we push this on up tomorrow, and then it's retail sales that make us crack. I don't know. Nice big fat green candle this week so far. Nice big fat green candle today on big tech. And Dawn says, what exactly am I looking at? This is technical analysis, Dawn. And these are price levels in the market that you're looking at. So this yellow line is my roadmap line. If you want to know more about that, link is in the description, or you can go to my YouTube homepage. When I'm done, you click the link, flip the sides here, right under me, right here, my name, and go to the homepage and watch this thing. It's like my favorite indicator or something. I can't remember if I'm pointing up or down or it's pointing down, and I'm like something like this. Anyway, I show that, give you the code, give you how it works, and we're kind of going through the market, looking at different ways. There's two main patterns that I like to follow. This is usually not a teaching webinar. This is usually, or live stream. This is usually a going through your requests after a little bit of brief market analysis. Right now we have a setup for a potential crash. So ES is the S&P 500 futures. SPX, of course, is S&P 500, and they both are aligned for a big down. The Nasdaq here also has that alignment, but we're running a little bit behind. So there you go. And apparently that member deleted and or left. All right. And then Russell right there, hanging out here, looking for a pop. This one's way lagged behind and could get a downside extension very, very easily. Oil is kind of hanging. I don't know. Looked like it was going for the breakout, then retracing today. We may back test that kind of trend line. It's very loose. It only has a few highs involved. It's one reason why I was watching. I didn't get super excited about this. We didn't break through that resistance. If we can, 90 on the upside. If we can't, probably going down. So that's the long and the short on oil right there. And I should flip over to the red list. Not the blue list, the red list. The red list. And hit the rest of the oil complex with Brent. That's lower highs coming across there. Lower high. We've got resistance right up there. And turning down below the roadmap line. Right there. It just hit the roadmap line on CL. So Brent is the price pattern a little more clear that we're still quite bearish on global oil right there. That's European oil, basically Brent, and CL is light sweet crude in the United States. That's then we usually look at gasoline futures, which are showing some bearish signs, which may push lower before we find a bottom. Could go all the way down here, back down the $2 area. On gasolina, heating oil, that's still in a downtrend also, and we may see this spike down one more lower low here before we turn and burn on diesel fuel. NG1 sitting underneath the roadmap line. If we get that breakout right there, you can very quickly see a move back up to this $4 area right here on natural gas. So right there. GC. Dun. Still here? You just deleted your message. All right. So GC right here is just kind of hovering. Tried to push higher. I guess this was a close higher than yesterday's close. So now the official highest close, although it's a wrong color candle, you would think going higher we're green, but we did not maintain a green. Interesting. Still hasn't made a higher high, totally higher high, but it is the highest close. And marches on to the target area right there. Silver hanging at the roadmap line, has not gotten off of it. So, all right. For those of you, most of you, we've only got 85 people on the stream, so most of you here for requests, I'm sure. There are two main patterns that I kind of go over most of the time. And first off, we have the roadmap line. Tends to look something like that. the orange line that we all see. And one of the patterns I like is a bust up through and a retrace to that roadmap line, something like that. And then I will often use the fib tool from here to here, wherever it bottoms down here at the roadmap line. When it breaks above the 618 level, this pink line, upwards of 75% of the time we see an extension up there to the 1448, which is 90% of the way to the 1.272. Now that may be confusing. It may be a lot of information, but this is a price pattern that we look for all the time, and it works out 75% of the time. When we come bouncing off the line, we break through, get a daily close, or any close really above. Usually I'm sticking on the daily chart, that's why I say a daily close. Daily close above the 618. We're headed on a path up to the 1272 target. But recently I've started using a conservative exit of 90% of the way there, which is the 1.1448 right there. So that is the potential zone right there. And these fib lines are actually kind of fuzzy zones in my brain, because we can all chart them. We can all draw them. All the algorithms can calculate them, and they front run each other. So they tend to be zones. Like sometimes they'll come up short. So if you're long and you're coming up to it, getting out before we hit it is a conservative exit. But sometimes we blast on through and go heading almost to the next fib line, but come up short. And that's where we're exceeding this. And some algos may be front running each other, pushing it higher and exceeding that level. So that's why they're fuzzy zones. And I tend to get out on the conservative side. When we're going down, I tend to get out at the top. And when we're going up, I tend to get out at the bottom. So this works both directions. This goes long and short. So if on the short side, it would work the other way. You would be looking for, let's just pull this up a little bit and down a little bit. So if we were coming down, down, and we reversed and came up, hit the roadmap line like so, and then retraced. Now we have opportunity to break through the 618 and get extension to lower levels. Or we could potentially bounce, break up through the roadmap line, and turn it into a more bullish setup right there. So that's why I watched the 618 level. On the bullish one, if you come down like this, and then we were to rally back up, hit that 618, we could also get continuation lower after doing that 3-wave move up. Then you get the lower high and then continuation lower. This is all, and you know what that looks like, a lot like? A head and shoulders pattern right there. See the head, shoulder, head, shoulder. That's a clear reversal type pattern right there. And typically we would see extension, something like that, right down here, and we may see that extend like that. So that's kind of the first pattern. All right, applies both up and down. Lots of little nuance to it. It's nothing simple about it. It is one of the simplest price patterns, but as you can see, it kind of exponentially gets more and more difficult as it goes. Yeah, it can cross the roadmap line. Yeah, that's. In fact, all my tools require a move, at least get some sort of price action below through the roadmap line to trigger some sort of target. If it doesn't touch the roadmap line, then it's not a touch. And so you can get closes below and closes above. And that's how that price kind of works both ways there. Now, the other pattern that I like doesn't really involve the orange line at all. Let's say we're dropping in the market, big down, right? We get somewhat of a reversal, and this can be all sorts of structure inside here. And then we get a retrace that comes back down, like so. Don't know where the roadmap line is, don't really care at the moment, right? Could be involved in here, could maybe not, all right? Now, this pattern in particular, we run the reversal here, and it comes down to that 618 level. The 618 is important regardless of the pattern. regardless. Now, if we stopped here, you know, we've had a downtrend for a while. We did a reversal of the reversal. So two reversals, like nested reversal. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm not sure what's going on. This right here, if it holds in this vicinity right here, if it holds here and then starts back higher, breaking above, usually there's an intermediate point in here where there's a three-wave kind of retrace right there. And then certainly when we break new highs right here, it's a confirmation. We have done what I call a measured bounce. And this right here has targets much loftier, usually in the vicinity of the 1272 to the 1618 right here. Much loftier. And you can see there's no actual price action here that we're going off of. So the prices don't matter. It's just the fib levels. So the main target here, doesn't matter if it's bullish or bearish, is typically the 1272. But if we're bullish, if this is going to be a bullish reversal or a trending reversal, we tend to shoot for the 1618. And that can be hit on bullish or bearish. And if it's sometimes bearish, sometimes we only hit the, move the wrong thing instead of the arrow. Sometimes we only hit the 100% and we come up shy of that target right there. So that would be a bummer, but that's why you should aggressively be moving your stop or warning level up as you come up to the 100% extension. So that's the two price patterns. And when you combine them together, it creates a different pattern altogether called the rocket ship pattern. And that one tends to be a super powerful pattern. So as I go through all the charts today, that was the measure bounce, Indy. And as I go through all the charts today, these are kind of the two main patterns in various combinations that I'm looking for. But there's a lot of nuance to it. I've really glossed it over and simplified. That was like the 5-minute version. And funny enough, tomorrow I'm teaching a hour, maybe 2-hour class on using all that stuff right there and how to find potential trades in the market. So there you go. So when we look at this right here, we've got that roadmap bounce, right? That roadmap line, we've come down. See that three-wave situation right there? The 618 level right there. We want to see that break above. We do have this extra little consolidation we did above, which adds an extra little nuance of consolidation. We really want to see price get back above that to confirm that we're going on up. 35 has been the long-term target for this right here on this move. Really hoping this gets going. I mean, hope is not a trading strategy, but I'm invested in it and ready for this to pop on up here in a big way. Copper here, Dr. Copper, as they joke about it. Now, this gets into the weeds a little bit more because we did a three-wave up. Three-wave is not a continuation pattern. Three-wave is a corrective pattern in the market. We did a three-wave up. It did exceed the start point here, but that's okay on a corrective pattern. We can do that. And this sets up potential continuation lower, though, to a low lower than this point right here that we made back in July of 22. That low could be as low as 295, even 259, even if we could get the extension down to 220 area. And I've been holding out that somewhere in this vicinity right here, we would probably come down and find a bottom. Several people thought I was crazy, but here we are, already part of the way down. Would not take a huge flush. We could actually get down here in like 2 weeks. If you look at the speed and of this decline we had right over here. If you projected that right over here, we could be down there in a few days. Not even that long. Less than a month, or about a month, we could be down here. That'd be pretty wild. Pretty wild. And even off of that high right there, we could get down there right near the vicinity by the end of the month. If we say that was the echo of this move over here. It's right in the same spot. Pretty wild to think about. Hi, Ivan. So that's what you got right there on copper. Lumber is just gobbledygook choppiness ever since they changed the futures contract for lumber. Housing is all over the place and actually keeps rising higher. It's pretty wild. Go to a weekly chart to really see it. It's not even very clear. So housing futures still rocking and rolling. Haven't topped out yet. All right, crypto. We usually hit a few crypto before we go into requests. Bitcoin. Nice rally today, but we're still below that roadmap line. We kind of came down. We found support. We've popped up, stopped at the roadmap line, pulled back, made a higher low, but haven't broken through yet. We need to get through the 618 and indicate that we're going to go higher. We also have that downtrend line of highs that we started back here in March. Downtrend. And watch out. It means the FCX is going to go in the toilet if copper goes down. That's what that would mean. I can circle back real quick. HT1 exclamation point and compare. Let's see, X. These two are pretty correlated. They're not exactly correlated, but pretty dang correlated. I mean, look it up off the low, line those up right there. See, FCX has been outperforming on the upside. That's the orange. It's probably going to go in the toilet. And line up the highs. Zoom her up. Line up that high. Right there. And you see they've been hanging pretty close on this descent. So, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but FCX is probably going to the toilet if copper takes that big dip down there. Right there. All right. Hey, Sledge. Good to see you, my man. ETH, USD. Looking for the big bounce. Hasn't formulated yet. Haven't been able to do it yet. Still sitting way under the roadmap line and may go lower. May, in fact, go lower. Nothing yet. No reversal, no nothing. We're just churning right in the zone. And it could get another extension lower. Definitely. As long as we're below. Breaking back above that right there would be an indicator that we're probably going higher. As long as we stay below that 3,090 level, pressure's on the downside for Ethereum. All right, we're to that point in the show where I take requests for at least 30 minutes, sometimes longer. I need you to one request per person per request. Please use all capitals. Use a ticker that I can look up, and you can make one request, and then you got to wait for somebody else to go before you go again. So if you go a whole bunch of times, I'll pick whichever one I want, and then I'll move on to the next person. All right? So there you go. I'll go until I get tired or hit the end of the tickers, and then we'll wrap it up. So Starbucks, S-Bucks, nothing changed on my analysis. We broke through the resistance. The target is still up here, way up here. Beautiful upside potential right there on Starbucks. We do still have the resistance coming up at 102. I have a $100 call out to 2026, waiting for this price action up here, right there. And snow. I did buy one share on that dip to a lower low. We did the lower low. There's nothing to predict at this point, and we're just bounced up off of it. We're still lower high. I bought one share, and we may still go lower. The real target was all the way down at 89. We didn't quite get there. We did make a lower low, the lowest low we've ever been for Snowflake. I am long-term bullish fundamentally, but that doesn't mean you should be long-term bullish technically until a setup shows up in the chart, which it has not yet. So my fundamental is one share. That's my fundamental risk. I'm willing to lose $100 on this if it goes to zero. And I'm waiting for the bigger bullish setup to get going. And really, I mean, at this point, we can just negate it all. We have the Downside setup still in place. That move, and I didn't draw that right. Dun, 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 dun. Go back. And which one was this one? Come on. I remember which one's which. That wasn't a thing. That wasn't a thing. There we go. Down to, yeah, that was just the retrace and the extension. That whole thing can be done. It needed a lower low. This was all corrective price action up off the lows. Just 3 waves. Petered out. Made the lower low. I mean, I almost am shocked that I called it. I should have traded some options on it because I was pretty convinced we were going down there when we were up here. Could have been $100 a share right there. Anyway, that's snow for you. Looking for the reversal. Hasn't done anything yet. Foot Locker, still on the path. Dun, dun, dun. I don't remember how long ago I put this out. We're above the 31 entry. Conservative target 40. Target 47.50. And aggressive target 90. Right there on Foot Locker. Still on the path. Oop, moving stuff I don't mean to move. Cool. Not. There we go. Undo. Took a while. I think it was all the way back here somewhere when I put this out. All the way back in May. Here we are in August. And we're doing the thing. 47.50 upside target there. HD. They announced some, I guess, disastrous, you might say, July sales numbers. They said the consumer's just not shopping at Home Depot. Maybe they turn it around. Maybe they're just sandbagging so they can come out with a huge beat and go rocking higher. We'll see. We'll see. So far, not a lot here. That was Tuesday morning. Had the beat on the top, beat on the bottom, and beat both ways. But they announced that July, the consumer just wasn't showing up. And I don't know. You tell me. This is a bearish setup, but we do have a bullish kind of higher lows. Break below the lows, we can go down. This was a rejection of the 618. We haven't got continuation yet, though. That's a 1, 2, 3 up into the 618. 1, 2, 3 down. Unclear. Unclear is what that is. This high and this low overlap. You ignore the two in the middle. So we've got this going on right here where this high, right there, and this low so far are overlapping. That's not bullish continuation right there. That's overlappy, choppy, sideways, correction-y type stuff. Unclear. Big question mark for me on what's next. We break down below lows. We can easily get an extension lower. That could look something like this move here, this move here, this move here, right down in this zone for Home Depot. Unclear at the moment. Break back above these highs, right in here. That upside target somewhere right up in here. And we should probably redraw that with the new fib tool. That one's been on there since before I changed it. Right there. There's the long and the short of this all right there. Home Depot, long and short. Right there. All right. ADBE. I thought I'd go through a little bit more of the analysis. So ADBE, we hit the back here. Do you remember this? We got to here. I said, well, there's the short and there's the long and the short of it right there. And we took the short path. And we got down here. I was like, well, it could extend a little farther. Well, we didn't do the extension. So that's not played out at this point. We played out the first scenario, but not the extension. So let's go back and clear all this off and look at where we're at. Where are we at? So at this point, we've bottomed right in this vicinity. And let's just go ahead and take all the drawings off. Clean sheet, right? So this is the high. right there. We've got significant resistance. We came up lower high here. This is what concerns me, is the fact that this was a lower high, like other charts I've drawn already, copper and other ones. We do a corrective 1, 2, 3 up like that. That 3 up was to the 1618. New trend, not a new trend. Big question mark right there, especially when we broke back down below the roadmap line. Unclear. That's the problem. All right. So we've identified the problem. Now, if we break below this low right here, it's likely we're going all the way down here. That's what's likely at this point. Now, if this is set up some sort of bullish retrace, potentially could be maybe 5 up, 3-wave retrace in the vicinity of the 50% retrace, move up, a retrace. Well, we could be looking at a potential mini measured bounce that would take us right up to a new all-time high. Potentially right in this vicinity right there. So how do we know we're getting there? First indication we break above that high. Zoom on up, see if we can find anything else. And very small, it was a 3-wave retrace, so a secondary kind of potential here. Break above this high. A little more aggressive. Get above that. Maybe we're setting up to go up here. Maybe. Not the most clear chart at the moment, is what I would say. Not at all. That's a W for you. TGLS, no real update there. You're riding, we're just riding. Target's still way up here. You tell me what was your game plan? My game plan is get out up here. Really, I want to see 207, but I may bail at between 100 and 135. Got in back here, 11/6/2023. Just riding. I'm up like a ridiculous amount already for shares. That's what, almost a double, almost 100% gain. It's been pretty sweet. Pretty sweet so far. Now we are lower than what the high we made right back here, but this is a nested potential right there. Secondary measured bounce. Smaller time frame. Dang, 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 dang. Line that up right there. It does line up with this vicinity right in here. And the bullish one, the bullishness of this lines up with that target right there. 130 still looks likely. If my $30 shares go to 130, that's a pretty dang good trade. Pretty dang good trade. All right, that's TGLS for you. Moving on. LEU. That's got the potential to measure bounce. We're in the zone here. In the zone. But when you look at the bigger pattern, it's choppy and overlapping. This high, this low, overlapping. It better get something going. Otherwise, it can break down and go lower because this high, that 1, 2, 3 up, still all lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. That can break down and go lower than this low right back here. So, warning sign, if we get below here, we may go cruising on down to the bottom on LEU. Kava. Nice. We did the bounce off the roadmap line, upside target. Next stop, 103, 107, 120, possibly 149. The last time this bounced, it did one massive run. Don't even have the daily chart with enough candles to see the bounce. There. Kind of did the 4-hour bounce and big run. If this was just another consolidation, could kick off another sizable run for a while. right there. I have to imagine it kind of hit right there and we went on the run, but we don't have that. Since it IPO'd right back here, we don't have that history in there. But this looks like it kind of went like something like that. Got to the 1618, retraced to the roadmap line. Now we're going on the extension. All right. CRWD. CrowdStrike Holdings. Yeah. Potential to bounce here. That bounce could be a big one. That's a potential. It's very weak. It didn't quite get into the correct fibs that I wanted to see. Well, I guess it depends. Do you think it's on non-log scale? If it's not, we hit the 618, we can bounce right up in this vicinity. If it is log scale, we came up shy and it's weak. So it looks like it is non-log scale. That's a little nuanced thing. Like some stuff looks better on log scale, some stuff looks better not on log scale. It's not always clear cut. Usually things moving more than $50 look better on log scale, but this is not one of them at this point. This looks better on non-log scale. We did hit that measured bounce potential. If we break on down, we may come back down or go lower. But at this point, holding this vicinity can kick us off higher, 500, 600. That's kind of the vicinity up here. Still looks pretty good. Now, how do you know when we're tip the odds that we're going long, other than a leap of faith and buying right now? We've got a gap fill right there. Right there's a gap fill. Got to get through that. Another gap here, and we got to get through the roadmap line. So we've got several layers. That's a confirmation, that's a confirmation, that's a confirmation. How many confirmations do you want before we go ripping on higher? The 618 of the entire retrace here being just above the roadmap line right there, which kind of tips the odds we're probably going higher high than what we had before this big flush out right here. Overall, this is a bullish pattern, probably going on up to this 500 or 600 area at the minimum on CRWD. MCK McKeeson came right back down to the roadmap line. They all do it eventually. All do it eventually. If we get back through the gap, unfortunately, it left a giant gap in there, and I don't like to trade into that until we're on the upper side. 652, 665 on the upside. If we start breaking down and being soft, get below this low right here, it could be in. There's not going to be support for a long way down here. Wow. If we start breaking below this low, we could come all the way back down here, that vicinity of that prior breakout high right there. So if you're long that one, watch out, unless you can take 150 points down. Alrighty. SVXY is not a trending chart. Not really. It's doing all the bouncing things so far. How long is it going to take? It could take well into next month. Usually when these, so here's the crux of the matter. Like if the S&P goes crushing down, this thing is going to plummet. It's going to plummet out. If the S&P goes ripping off higher, this thing is going to rip right back to new highs. Typically, after we find the bottom, which arguably we found a bottom right back over here, typically after we found that bottom, it takes 30 to 45 days to make a new high, to recover. So what does that look like from this low? 30 days right there puts us out into September, right around OPEX. 45 days puts us on out here, right there. Maybe how long it takes, 45 days right there. So we could be looking at early October before we get up there. If we're going to recover. That could be the time frame we're looking at right there. 30 to 45 days. And there could be a little jig jog in here. Like we may pop up in this area, retrace before we go on up there. Could be above the roadmap line, could be below the roadmap line. There you go. Little jig jog. And then we'll go on extension. We'll see how high it goes. And the other flip side is that we retrace to the 618 here. Do this little retrace here, and we crush it like that. And then this bigger, deeper retrace takes a bigger, longer time to recover back to the highs. Sometime out here, a long time from now. So there's your potentials right there on SVXY. All right. And coin. Now, SVXY is a special instrument. Let's just get this out of the way. SVXY is short VIX. All right. Why does this work the way it works? VIX tends to spike and then return to the normal. The normal right now was 12. We're still hanging at 18. Plummeting quickly. You would be like, well, that seems like, you know, look right here, July 24th, 28th, 29th, 30th, even August 1st, we were hanging out right there at that 17, 18 level. So we go back to SVXY and look at where we were August 1st. We're hanging out right here. We're not quite there on VIX, and we're kind of lagging behind on SVXY. Now, this is managed by shorting futures. All right, so this is actually, SVXY is actually trading VX1 right here. This has almost come back to those levels right there where we were. But SVXY is not performing quite the same. It's going to take some time to bleed off that extra premium in the shorts and get it added back to SVXY right here. That's why usually it takes 30 to 45 days. This is not an instant right back up. All right. Anybody that jumped into the trade with me, it's never instant right back up. It always takes time to run back higher. Always. Every time it takes time to come back higher. Sometimes it takes longer than others. Every time we do a 15 to 20% retrace, it takes time to come back. Every time, since COVID. This thing did a split, did a regular split right here. So these are diluted 2 for 1 back here. They were twice as high. Everything after that has been a little, this is the first real major go since we did the split right here. The last time I traded it was right back on this one. I didn't take advantage of this one because it wasn't deep enough for me. I need a 15 to 20% pullback. And this one was a doozy at almost 40% right there. So that's a little different game right there than just normal chart patterns. An exceptional ticker. Coin, 3-wave up, extension, so we have 3-wave down in this low. If we can break above the roadmap line, back above the 618, we're going higher. If not, there's no update here. I mean, if we break down below, we could go on a deeper retrace. There is significant resistance at this high and then this high up here to going higher. The big blue line was having, and Bitcoin has not been performing since having. WPM, wheat and precious metals. Looks like a 4-hour bounce. That high, that low, break above the 618, cruise up to 64 on the 4-hour chart. All right. And AVAX USD has been in the garbage and still not recovering. That's still sitting at the low. Is it the low? I don't know. Not clear yet. That's not a reversal pattern, and it's not clear that we've made any kind of bottom. There's a deep, wicked retrace right here. Deep, deep, deep retrace. Pushing the 786. If we get any kind of sustained move below that prior low right there, it's probably game over, and we're probably going lower low. Could be down to 47 cents on Avalanche. And dun, 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 dun. Probably not what you're wanting to see. And let's see, I just skipped a bunch. Gold Barrick Mining, the OLD Barrick is just choppy. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Upside target right there, 1969. Just that's kind of choppy. Bigger picture, it looks pretty potentially bullish, but all this choppy action doesn't give me the warm fuzzy right here. Potentially just the last little, if you just ignore all the chop and just look at this last little pattern, could get an extension out to 20. Just doesn't give me that warm fuzzy. Now, if we can get the bigger potential measured bounce off this low here, looking at how big this is, this retrace, this hold, this potential to get moving, which it hasn't followed through anything yet at all. But it has this potential sitting here. Could, in fact, see a large rally up to this 35 or 40 area. That is nowhere near the size of NEM, and why NEM is my pick and not Barrick Mining. Ba-ba. This one has a large upside potential, but it's just not been performing right here. It just keeps sitting here at the lows for a long time. We tried to break out, then we came right back down on a deep retrace, held a higher low, but it doesn't give me strong confidence until we can get broken back above here and then confirm with a move back above this prior high in May. So we've got to get above this 83 area, then above the 90 area, and then keep making some higher highs. Quit making lower highs. This was a lower high, then back here, and so far this is a lower high than here. Quit making lower highs. That's what we got to see. MRK is sitting on a potential measured bounce. Now, if we break down below this 105 area, we're probably cruising on down here. Lower lows, 94, 89, possibly the bigger, deeper measured bounce right here, 82. Need to hold this area, go higher if we can. That upside potential, something like 150, maybe right up in here. Possibly up to 160, but 150 would be what I would expect on a Merc. Nvidia is just sitting here below the resistance, above the supports. We did a potential measured bounce. Gonna have to break above the 618 and above that, those little highs there, that gap down. Gonna have to get above that to confirm we're going up to 148, possibly 154. If we turn down right here, watch out. Lower low, 70, 57, 40, possibly this kind of gap fill thing right back down here in the 40s, 30s and 40s. It's a large downside potential versus a relatively not large upside potential. I've been out of that and sitting on the sidelines for a while. Solana is probably one of the better looking cryptos, although we return to the roadmap line again. Like, get off the mat? No. Get off the mat? No. Get off the mat? No. It's just not performing. And it may not be able to perform until Bitcoin performs because, well, let's face it. Bitcoin is like 55% of the entire crypto space right here. Pretty low, 56 today, 56.2%, right there. Right there. Bitcoin's dominance, 56.2%. Ethereum is 15.3%. So together, that's 71%, 71.5%. You think the rest of crypto is moving without those two? Probably not. Probably not. So even though Solana has been an up-and-comer at number 5, probably not got the strength to just move the market without the big dogs. Just the top two. Out of 2.4 million cryptos, the top two represent 77% of the value. I mean, 71% of the value. Hard to buck that. If those two aren't moving, you're not going to budge the rest of it. Probably. And it has been underperforming while these two have been recovering a little bit. So, I don't know. It's got a bullish pattern, but it's just not able to get out, it's stuck in the mud here on the roadmap line. Stuck in the rut. MU has the measured bounce potential. There's the market's open again. 6 o'clock. Futures are going. Measured bounce potential for a giant upside on MU. I keep not buying shares. I don't know why. I could double my money, maybe triple it on that one. And Nancy B, will you hold or sell your NEM leaps if we head on deep now move? I don't know what that means. AGI. And we're sitting here. Alamos Gold. Getting some extensions. That's the last real pullback we had that we can work with. Let's see. Yeah, we don't have a lot to work with here. 3.2, that low, that high, this low. Kind of topping out there. If this was nested, 1, 2, 1, 2. Which that looks corrective. Topping out there. The only thing we got left is this high, this low. Could go an extension of 23 or 26. Not huge upsides like NEM or some of the others. Not even like Barrick. So not one of the better ones in my opinion. Apple did a measured bounce on the daily chart. Did it close above? Oh, it got so close. So close. That's splitting hairs right there. Oh, man. I'm going to bet not, but my scanner tool might come out and say that did. Potential for 243 if we can get, it's pretty nice. If we get any kind of pop tomorrow, we're probably setting the stage for going higher on Apple. Right there. AAVE USD. Choppy sideways. Nothing. No, nothing. Choppy sideways. ELF beauty. Looks like we've set the stage to go back down to this area right here around 100. Lower high, failed to break out, and setting it up to go lower. DLTR, Dollar Tree. Oh, look how close that is to the target. 89. You might think it was magic right there. So close. So close. Almost there. Sometimes lucky or good. I don't know. You tell me. Sometimes I get lucky on things. SPHR. Nothing. Why do you want to be involved in that? I mean, that shows me nothing. No signs of going higher. We're well below. It's not being bullish. That's not bullish price action. In fact, that looks like it could be set up a head and shoulders to go actually lower. Loses tons of money. I guess we make a little bit of money and then lose tons of money. Ugh. I don't know. That just not a great chart. Not a great pattern. Hershey. Looking for a bottom. Haven't found a bottom. Golly. It's the kind of choppy stuff we see before we get a... So that could be consolidating before we get one more flush. This could be a measured bounce setting up here. Off of this low right here. And that low. this high. Potential to do a measured bounce, but that's also not necessarily the low. It's hard to tell. That was a long move up. This retrace and potential upside could be in the 360, 400 area, but right now we're just kind of consolidating. Right on top of, right in there, just mucking it up on right on the roadmap line, just above, below, till we start setting up a trend. There's nothing here. I think it's going to take one flush down before we can reverse out of this. But we're probably just going to hang in this vicinity for a while. Would be my guess, but things can change in a drop of a hat. So NKE feels like a piece of fuzz just went up my nose. Ugh. Man, I don't know what it is. Every time I breathe, I feel it. Must be hung. Nike came down. Potential to reverse here, just like Foot Locker. Potential, but that's got a large gap down. It's going to have to do a lot of stuff to get back up. Breaking above the... actually, it looks more like Starbucks right here. Look at this chart. Starbucks, boom, right up there. Setting the path. I'm in $100 calls. $100 strike calls out to 2026. Bottom down here. Where did I buy them? I bought them somewhere right over here. I think right here before we dip down. Now I'm still in them. They're profitable now. Look at this pop up here. 150. Yeah, $50. My like puny little $4 calls or whatever might be $50 calls. Like 10x my money, maybe 12x, 15x. Not too bad. Anyway, where was I? Nike. So Nike has potential to be at or near the bottom. Going to see a return back up into the roadmap line, back to fill that gap to get out of this garbage right here. And DBX. Drop box pushed. Oh, man. What a bummer. This looks like a bad chart. This rejected the roadmap line, set the stage to go lower. 19 or 20, possibly even down to 18 and a lower low. It just looks pretty nasty right there on Dropbox. I used to use Dropbox a bunch, and then now I don't think I know anybody that consistently uses Dropbox anymore. So it may have seen its day and come and gone. Cassava Sciences popped up, retraced back to the roadmap line, did not touch. This has a large upside potential because of this. You've got to put it on the log mode. Like I said, some stuff looks good on a log mode, some stuff doesn't. This does, and it looks like it held a pretty strong measured bounce here. Don't know what I just did. Trying to delete, not whatever that was. So we've come up, we've retraced, come up, retraced. This has a large potential upside. We're talking about some crazy freaking number. Right, 1,700. All right, this is a biotech. Biotechs are notorious for not following my pattern. Like, this is one of those things. I do hold like, I don't know, 200-300 shares of this because it's been a heck of a covered call selling machine right here. But at that same stroke, it's biotech. You can lose your shirt. All right, this could just like everything they're working on could be denied by the FDA, and this does a chart down and be down at 50 cents tomorrow. Or holy cow, they just figured out how to cure whatever they're trying to work on. I don't know, and they do this, and it's like, or it could just be like right there. So it could be absolute crazy or absolute devastation. That's the way biotechs work. Do I recommend trading them? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm kind of stuck in my cover call right now, just waiting. I'm having them sell way far out in time to try to get any premium because it's underwater. That's what kind of trouble you get into. Meta. Dun, 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 dun. Set this up like 3 days ago and still on the path. 560 is the target. It's been the target for a couple days. BITO, long BITO calls. Want to sell calls against it. Any suggestions? I don't suggest trades. And back to this right here. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. If you desire personal financial advice, it's not what I do. Hire and consult a financial advisor. That all said, BITO. And you're long a what strike? Long calls. I don't know. It looks like it's about to go launch it off to me. I was going to sell a call right now. I wouldn't go very far out and sell a 24. If we start breaking through that roadmap line and that downtrend of highs, this thing can potentially launch out. Launch out in a big way. Potential measured bounce right there. Don't see it right there. Potential measured bounce. This thing could, in fact, a lot of doubters out there, but this could launch out to 83. Right there. It might take well into 25, though, to do it. Based on this trajectory right here, we might take a while, sometime out late next year, to be up in that area. Not good for your 2025 January calls, but there you go. 25, you said, yeah. So, yeah, there's not much upside. 24s, but then you're in kind of like a credit spread. I don't know. Tough. And ELF already did. ADP. If you missed anything, use the slider down here. Slide back in time. Go find it. ADP is sitting at resistance and may get a retrace. Simple as that. CRM. Moved up. Rejected. Came down. Held the 618. Maybe bust through. Target will be right up here. Is a measured bounce potential. That target right in here. And if we can get the extensions, push us on out to 338. Not too shabby. About a 50% gain from current levels. CMG still needs lower to go. We retraced up to the roadmap line. Rejected off. Right down in here would be my minimum target. Kind of expect us to go. And we could find support at 46, do another bounce, but I'd like to see it flush back down in this zone right here, around 40. And this is kind of in the curse of big splits. Everything we've seen split 10, 20, 50 has gotten wicked retraces in the last few weeks. It's been brutal on big splits. Costco went over that earlier today somewhere, but there's no upside potential really. Downside support here. I guess upside 4-hour bounce, limited 900. Downside potential 700. We're sitting right in the middle. So 50-50 coin flip. Going higher, lower. I don't know. TLT, it's not a high probability because it's a 4-hour chart. It's not as high probability as if it was the daily chart. And TLT rejected, going higher. I'm not sure. I drew that box on there a while ago because of this chop back here. And I think it's probably split adjusted, or whatever adjusted. However it adjusted it. Dividend adjusted, that's what it was. And that's a lower high. Lower high, lower high, lower high. Doesn't matter high or low or not. That's still lower high. Until we can break above this high, still not sure we're going up here. Now we have the setup to go up here, but we've got to break above that high right there. And we got to get above this high right here to make it up there. has the setup. It's a measured bounce setup, but got some stuff to work through. And Mara. There's the shorts, and there's the long. Long and the short of it. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Fine. Covered that with the ES and S&P 500 to start with. Just divide by 10. There you go. AVGO. Sitting here. Another one of those 10 for 1 splits. Got brutalized. Resistance here. We get above it. Could rally up to 194. If we don't, we could get the extension on lower. First move down. Retrace. Second move down. Put us down here. Right there. So there's the short of it, and here's the long of it. And we're kind of coin flipped right in the middle. Got to get our close above that gap down, or we could be heading down here. That's AVGO for you. MSFT is a potential bounce. We're going to have to get above this consolidation right here to head on up to 481 right there. And PFE is sitting on the roadmap line. Looks like we had a 3-wave move up. Could we get continuation? We could. It's going to take a move back up through the gap. 30 to get 32 or 32. Yeah, basically 32. Maybe 33, but 32 probably. If we're going to get off the mat here. Otherwise, we turn down. We can easily go lower. This move lower, potentially down here, back to 26. Area right here. There's your upside. There's your downside. Right there. And we could just drift on lower, but that's the resistance I want to go see it test. If we don't even get up there, watch out below. Can make a lower low pretty easy. That was only a 3-wave up. If we just break down from here, probably coming down here. That's Pfizer for you. Disney. And we're down to 70 people, so I'm going to hustle, get a few more in. Disney looks like we're set for a drop down to the 73 area, maybe 69. That is... Did we get lower than COVID? Tied COVID. That would put us lower than COVID and clear up all this gobbledygook we've done since COVID. Potentially make a real bottom that we can work off of, but right now that's not where we're at. Pushing lower. Looks pretty wicked for another lower low on Disney. And GE has just been churning, burning, churning. Nothing. Did a 4-hour bounce? Yeah. Has not been able to get going here. 181, 184. Potential upside on the 4-hour. The daily may still need a retrace on down to this 145 area. Right down in here. So there's your upside target, and there's the long and the short of it right there. All right, PAAS. Right there. Which platform am I using? This is called TradingView right here. I'm flip my head out of the way. See that TradingView logo right there? Oh, I can't put my mouse on it. This is TradingView. It's free to use. Anybody can use it. Anybody can do what I'm doing for free. All the alerts and stuff you're going to have to pay for. They only allow you like one alert for free. PAAS. Break above this. Takes up to that level right there. And that's in the resistance of the 618 and that prior swing high right there. Watch for that. If we can break through, cool. If we don't, we may retrace back to the roadmap line again. And that was the platform. One last question. ZS 185 calls want to sell against or Zscaler. You're in 185 calls. Ugh. I mean, there's potential to reverse here. It could go. It's not a foregone conclusion. We did turn down here, and this is a real possibility. There's your. You gotta watch for a break above that roadmap line, which is right where your call is. Gotta break above that to indicate we're coming up here, and then we need continuation through that zone back above that high to get higher, obviously. I mean, that's like, well, duh. Gotta make a higher high to make a higher high. But we gotta get through that to indicate we're going on up to 280. And you're only in a 920, so that doesn't leave you a lot of time here. Running out of time sucks. Been there plenty of times. I don't know. That's kind of bearish underneath the roadmap line. I'd give it a bearish bias over a bullish bias, but everything can change in a day or two. Like a big spicy CPI tomorrow that gets a pop could change everything on this right there. A lot of the like stuff like SMH is ready, primed for a pop off the bounce. SOXX primed for a pop. SOXL primed for a reversal. USD ultra semiconductor also primed for a bounce. So Zscaler could bounce. AMD also looking kind of rough here. We have not rallied up to that 618 yet. This one also may rally up to that 618, right in the vicinity of the roadmap line, and go lower. So I don't know. We've got Intel putting a lot of downward pressure. Tag in my target area. I don't know. Nothing quite clear on Zscaler. All right. All right. You're welcome, Ray. Airbnb. Thank you for the spoonful. The magic helps the medicine go down. And Airbnb could be working on a measured bounce. We need to hold here, turn back higher, beat some gaps, and get the get her pattern, get her out of right here. Get her out of here. Go higher, break back through. The roadmap line is way the frick up there at 145. 30 points up, but that could just be the start of a much larger potential move right here on Airbnb. Could be a big fat target up there if indeed do. This is just speculating. This is not where I think it's going. This is like if we get above here, we could go up here. But right now, it's showing bearish tendencies, so we may crush it on down to a lower low. So that's the risk here. This massive potential reward, massive potential risk. So it's like a 50% up or 50% down. All right, I guess a double up and a 50% haircut on the downside. Curve on Airbnb, excuse me. Yeah, I may have to wear my lucky shirt. Might. GE, we already did. DXCM. Saw somebody else analyzing this today. It's a medical specialty. So first off the top of my head, medical specialty does not always jive with my patterns. That is a lower low. And I already had a target just a little bit lower in this vicinity. That's why these fibs are drawn here. Almost got there. First move down. Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up. And it may take off another flush. If you're long on this, I'm sorry. Probably sucks. But it was biotech medical stuff, health technology. And it does satisfy the minimum. The minimum was a lower low. Doesn't look complete though. A little bit lower. Satisfied the minimum requirement to be done with this, but one heck of a gap up we got to fill. Got a big order to fill. CWEN. That move. Potential to rally up in this area right here. But that's going to be part of a bigger bearish move that takes it on down, potentially on down. BA. Been looking for this final flush out. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. There is strong buying support right there. That 160 level on BA. I was looking for one little push down just below 160. But we may not get it. Upside breakout here. This is a measured bounce. This is a giant. This was a big 5-wave up. Giant retrace. May get a little lower, but the upside potential like 600. And that's years away. I mean, we're talking 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 35. I don't know. Probably gonna be a while before we get up there, but giant upside. And we'll probably do some wild swings along the way. Big upside potential on BA. So it's all about your timing. NEM already did. ABT. Or maybe I didn't do NEM. I don't remember. Maybe I didn't. Abbott. Potential measure bounce. I'll hit NEM real quick. Right there. Potential upside. This is medical specialty. Be careful. FDA can just approve or deny something and they go crazy. NEM. It's a big picture. Measure bounce. Right here. You have to go up to the weekly chart to see it. This move up, this retrace, held right there. Sets the stage for a move up to like 169. That's a little crazy. The non-log scale, 100, 120, 140. I'm in $60 calls out to 2026, which may not be enough time. This may take 2020, 2030, 2028, 2029, 30, 40, 50, 60. I don't know. You tell me. It could take a while. In it to win it. Looking for 100 on my $60 calls, 110, 100, 110. I'll take $50 on my dollar calls. It's a 50x return on 300 calls. I think I have. I'll make a pretty good chunk of money. Pretty good chunk of money. I'll be pretty happy. VRT. Looks like that may come back down. Go back to the daily charts. Potential to hold this low, break through the 618 right there and go higher. Not sure we're going to do it. Not sure. It's probably got resistance up here that we're going to have to break through too. So this may be one of those that goes through the roadmap line, through the 618 up into this vicinity before it finds resistance. So be careful right there. If it can get through that resistance, 118, 127 for VRT. Indy, you're welcome. TT, you're welcome. Carmen, you're welcome. And that's the end of the list. So thanks for coming, everybody. If I said anything that was helpful, beneficial, you liked, give me a thumbs up, like, share the video. Make sure to tell a friend to come see me in the morning. I'll be back live 9:15 in the morning, same bat time, same bat channel as every day. Going through the markets, finding what's moving. We'll look at CPI. We'll talk about the reaction first thing in the morning and how we prepare for the day. Have a great day, everybody.